Okay, so we're going to be talking about moles today. What are moles? Well, I'll tell you in a minute. Okay, so a mole is a counting number. It's used to count the number of particles, like atoms, molecules, ions. I didn't write down formula units, but let's write that down because you'll see that a lot. Formula unit, by the way, is a unit of an ionic compound. And we put FU on it. So yes, you can actually write down FU on it on your paper. But that's what a formula unit is. So like if we have a formula unit of magnesium chloride or any kind of salt, anything that's an ionic compound, we use formula units. Molecules are used for covalent compounds, like a molecule of carbon dioxide or a molecule of water. And then, of course, we have ions. What if we have a group of chloride ions? That's also a particle. And then atoms, something like iron atoms, or any one of the elements on the periodic table. When we're just talking about that element, it's atoms, okay? So those are the four main units that we use as particles. So basically, Avogadro came up with what a mole was as far as the number. Kind of like if I talk about a dozen eggs, we all know that it's 12, right? So if I talk about Avogadro's number of eggs, then we're talking about a whole lot more than 12, okay? And then we're talking about 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd particles, okay? Or eggs, if we're talking about, Avogadro's number of eggs. Could be 1 mole of eggs would be the 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. 1 mole of marbles would be 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd particle, marbles. 1 mole of oxygen atoms, or oxygen molecules, because they're not atoms anymore, they're molecules, would be 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd molecules of oxygen, okay? So whenever we talk about a mole, we're always talking about 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. Okay, so in order to convert from moles to particles, we need to multiply by 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. Kind of like if I tell you I have 5 dozen eggs and I need to know how much that is. Well, that's 5 times 12, so that's 60 eggs. We're going to be doing the exact same thing here. We're going to take the number of moles and multiply it by 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. But this is chemistry. We use this unit to set you guys up for the next unit so you can do the stoichiometry unit easy. So you have to use the picket fence. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I don't care if you get the right answer some other way. It's not going to be correct because I am going to be grading the method rather than the answer. So this is the method you have to use because you have to be able to do it for the next unit. So if you can't do it for this unit, which is a lot easier, next unit you're going to have much more difficulty with. So you have to use the picket fence. Now, in each picket, so let's do this. First we need our conversion factor. So 1 mole is 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd particles of whatever substance it is. So we're starting out, we're asking for how many atoms. So there's our particles are in 2.30 moles of iron, and iron is Fe. So when we start this out, we need to put 2.30 moles of Fe. Now, every picket in your picket fence has to have 3 things. So you might want to highlight it, whatever. You have to have a number, a unit, and a substance. If you don't have those 3 things, you're going to get points off. The reason being is for next unit, you have to keep track of what substance you're dealing with. So you have to do this. So I'm trying to get you in the habit with this unit. Really, you could put 2.30 moles and do more moles and particles and then just add the Fe at the end. But as I said, that won't get you ready for next unit. I don't want you getting into that habit. So I am going to require those 3 things in each picket, okay? Okay, so we're going to have to put 1 mole someplace and 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd someplace. Well, multiplying means we put the 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd at the top. And the reason behind that is we have to put 1 mole of Fe on the bottom because it's got to cancel out. So if you remember when I taught you dimensional analysis in the beginning of the year, we did whatever unit you had on top. To get rid of it, you had to put it on bottom. So it had to be, you had to be able to, they had to be diagonal, in other words, to cancel out. So this is going to be 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. And now we got atoms. So don't put particles down. We're not looking for particles. Well, we are, but we're looking for a specific particle, and that is atoms. Okay, so when you do the math here, you get a number. It's 1.3846, and then it says oh, hang on a second. My tool on this thing does not like to go too far. And then it had E24. Okay, that is not the answer. Okay, first off, it doesn't have the right sig figs, and secondly, we don't state anything in E. Okay, so we actually have to write it out properly. So first off, how many sig figs? Well, let's see. We got 2.30. This is 3 sig figs. Okay, so our answer must have 3 sig figs. So our answer is going to be 1.38 times 10 to the 24, because that's what E24 means on your calculator. And then we're going to have to put atoms of Fe. So every single answer has to have 3 things: a number, a unit, and a substance. Otherwise, I'm going to count off a half a point for each one missing. So if you have the right number, but you have the wrong unit and the wrong substance, that's a whole point off, because it's going to be half a point each. So you don't want to do that. Okay, so that's what that point is for when we do a quiz or whatever, or the exam. That one, you're going to get 1 point for having the correct unit and the correct substance. Okay. Okay, let's try another one. Okay, let's try another one. So how many molecules are in 3.94 times 10 to the minus third moles of carbon dioxide? So we're going to start out, and you guys know how to do this on the calculator, I hope, because you should be using your EE button. Okay, so this one is how many molecules are in 3.94 times 10 to the negative third moles of carbon dioxide. Oh, and I meant to mention on the other one, when we're doing the multiplication, you need to use the EE button. So if we go back to the other slide with the 2.30, and then you're going to hit 2.30 on your calculator times 6.02 EE23. So we're back to using the EE button again. And you definitely have to use it for this one. So we're going to start with 3.94 times 10 to the minus 3 moles of CO2. We're going to put 1 mole of CO2 on the bottom, and 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. And this time we're doing molecules. Now, molecules there really is no abbreviation for, but in the picket fence, and only in the picket fence, you can put MC. I don't mind that. Okay? Okay, when we do the math here, we get 2.37. Well, here, hang on. Let me put it on the bottom. Put it up a little bit. Okay, so 2.3, it says 2.37188. Once again, I have 3 sig figs. So times 10 to the 22. Now you do have to write out molecules in your answer. Okay, the MC can only be used in the picket fence, so you don't have to write out the word molecules. Okay, so let's say we now have particles. So to convert from particles to moles, you have to divide by 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. So we're using the exact same conversion factor, we're just flipping them because of what we're starting out with. So let's do 5.86 times 10 to the 24 molecules of H2O. Now remember, we can use the MC in the picket fence only. Okay, now dividing means we're going to put it on bottom, and that makes sense because we have 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. In order to get the molecules of water to cancel, we have to put molecules on bottom, and 1 mole of H2O on top. Molecules are canceled. Now let me move the page up. Okay, and our answer is, once again, how many sig figs? Well, there's 3. You always use what you're given. Doesn't matter about the 6.02. So if that was 5.861, we would have 4 sig figs. If that was 5.8612, we would have 5 sig figs. Remember, you're always using the number of sig figs in what is given to you, not the conversion factor. Okay, so your answer is 9.73. Whoops. Hang on a second. I messed it. There we go. And that's moles of H2O. And I don't think I told you in the beginning, but the abbreviation for moles is MOL. So a lot of people try to use that for molecules, and you can't. Okay? That is the abbreviation for moles and moles only. I know it's silly. I mean, you can write out the whole word mole if you want to. I don't really care. But that is the abbreviation for moles. Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, last one. How many moles are in 8.15 times 10 to the 16 formula units of MgCl2? And don't forget, guys, we're using EE the whole time here. So formula units is FU. So we're going to put 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd formula units on bottom. 1 mole of MgCl2 on top. Now when we do this in the calculator, we're going to do 8.15 EE16 divided by 6.02 EE23. And when we do that, we get 1.35, it's not a point there, times 10 to the negative 7 moles of MgCl2. See how easy that is? Okay, well, we'll do some warm-ups when we get to class and then some practice problems. See ya. Bye.